Hey everybody, welcome back to Efrat. And again, I'm sorry for the little delay that we had, but Baruch Hashem, I am traveling now, and Baruch Hashem, we'll continue our lesson in Likutey Halachos. We're in Hilchos Netilas Yadayim Shachris Dalid, and again, this is based on the Torah and Likutey MoHaran, again Samach Hey, that we spent a lot of time discussing. And Baruch Hashem, any of you that don't remember the Torah, you can revert back to the videos. You can go back and you can review Torah Samachay. I do recommend that everyone is very well versed in that Torah, because it's very, very, very important for us to really live our lives in that manner. So anyway, let's see. The Rebbe says today we're up to letter Zion 7. Okay, so the Rebbe says today we're up to, everyone, so you remember the other day the Rebbe was talking about Hanukkah, right? Okay, so again, as Reb Nosson always does, he'll just continue. He just weaves everything together so beautifully. So let's talk about Chaloim Paroi, the dream of Paroi. Shetiknu al yedei Yosef shepasa Isai. Paroi had a dream. We know that, right? Pharaoh had his dreams. And we know Yosef was in the dungeon over there, right? And Yosef was able to bring a tikkun to Pharaoh's dreams, right? Pharaoh had problems. No one was able to interpret his dream. Nobody. They all tried. Everyone tried, but no one was able to do it successfully. Shekoirin Zois Parsha B'mei Chanukah. We read this Parsha when? On Chanukah. The Baruch Hashem, listen, these are all the hachonis for the beautiful Yom Tov of Chanukah. It's coming up before we know it. And it's some nice, beautiful ideas to we're in Chodesh Mar Cheshvan. This is the Chodesh that doesn't have Yom Tovim. So we'll bring a little bit of Chanukah a little light into Mar Cheshvan. All right, so here we go. Ki Paroi ra be'ei sheina shenimshach mibechinas bitul. Wow. Paroi saw when? While he was asleep. That comes from where? Bitul. So we learned in Torah Samachay that anytime we close our eyes tightly from this world and we don't look at this world, we can mamish, the seichel can leave the mind, the mayach, and it can be connected up to the highest place, to the Rabbeinu Shalom. So now, you may be thinking that how is it possible that you or I can have this bechina bitul? So we see here, look at this, of Paroi, mamash arosha marusha, Paroi, right? He was able to have something of bitul, Paroi. So why can't we do that? Ro'oz, eich sheva paris rois boilim, sheva paris hatoivos. He saw that those scrawny cows, the 7 scrawny cows, swallowed up the healthy full cows. Shezeh bechinas is garbus hara latoiv. So that's easy to understand. That's the ra that's coming to overpower the toiv, right? You had the 7 scrawny cows, which is the ra. They come and they devour the 7 healthy cows. So that's the ra that's being misgaber over the toiv. Hainu is garbers hasheva midos rois al sheva amidos toivos. So we learned about this many times, that there are everything that the Rebbeinu Shalom makes in the world. He makes everything zelu mazeh. Everything is equal, equivalent in the world. So whenever you have levels of holiness, you have the equal levels of impurity, and that's the way the world is. The greater a person is, the greater the yetzer is, because again, the greater the neshama gets, So the greater the yetzer hara is going to get. It grows with the neshama. It grows with the neshama because they have to always be equal. All right? It's very important to understand that. The Sheva Midas Rois al Sheva Midas HaToivos. So the Sheva Midas HaRois, which are the seven Midas of impurity, they were misgaber over the Midas Toivos. Ad asher vatavoina el kirbena v'loinoida kivo el kirbena. As if they actually devoured them. They were in them. They devoured them. But you couldn't tell. They didn't get bigger. They didn't get bigger. That's how the Ra is. The Ra in the world, the Ra goes over the Toiv. It goes over the Toiv, but the Ra stays Ra. So the question is, how do we stay away from the Ra? How do we stay away? And we stay away from the Ra through bitul. Kikol kach miskaberes asitra acha b'chol pam ad sheroitza Lishkiach es ha'adam b'chol pam kilu lo yira toiv me'aylam. The yetzer hara only wants to do is what? He wants to constantly just show you the Ra. And he wants to show you it as if there was no good in your life, no good in anything ever before, nothing. It's all bad. Everything's bad. That's what he tries to do. Afa pisha betchila. Ve'es habitul, ra rakes hatoiv, sheim bechina sheva pares hatoivos. Because we said when the person's going through a difficult time in this world, and he can seal his eyes, he can shut those eyes tightly. The same way, like we said, when a person has a pain, it's the nature of a person. The way the Rebbeinu Shalom made us, we just close our eyes from the pain. Why? Because it's a sense of bitul, and then we can recognize that is coming from the Rebbeinu Shalom. And if it comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we know that everything kol ma'adavid rachman l'tav ovid, everything Hashem does, He does mamish for ultimate good. So if that's the case, we can see the good, we can sense the good. But we said when we come back from the bitul, when we open the eyes, so then there's going to be as gabras, there's going to be an overpowering from the other side again. He's going to come. But then we said we have that reshimu, we have that little bit of the trace left. And if we remember that trace, and that's the hischachus haTorah, we said, remember? And that's, or if they don't have chidush haTorah, so that would be a new energy, the new chiyas that you put into your avodas Hashem to your limud haTorah, right? So that's okay. Ach roa shetekef achar kach samach lahakitzai. He saw afterwards he was about to get up. Dahainu shemaskil loshuv me'abitul chayzu misgaber machakach sheva pares harois. Like we said again, when you're coming out of the bitul, so then the Ra is going to come back, and that's what Pares saw. He saw those seven pares, the sheva pares rois. Shehema Ra she'oirev. That's the Ra that's coming to ambush the person. Umisgore umisgaber beyoytzachas kach. He's going to come and he's going to eke in. He's going to try to get in. He's going to try because he doesn't want to. He understands that you're connected to the Rebbeinu Shalom, and you saw the truth. You experienced the truth. So then, how are you going to get involved in the other stuff? Of course, so he's going to try his best. And this is what it means, the hiskabah. This is what it means that it's connected to shenismach ha'isgabers ha'poris ha'rois. That's why the poris rois were misgaber la'kitzai to wake up Moshe kosav sham umarehen ra, and they look bad. And that's the way people see things in the world. Everything's bad. Everything is bad. Chas v'shalom. V'okitz. And then he got up. V'chein b'chol parsha, and each one, each thing. And this is how life is. Every time we deal with something hard, and we can remember that it's really the Rebbeinu Shalom through bitul. We can remember it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Oh, and then you remember that. So then that helps you have a new way of looking at it and a new way of seeing it. But don't forget, the yetzer is always going to be there. It's going to try to show you that everything is really bad. But you know it's good because you were connected to the Rabbeinu Shalom. And if you're going to tell me that you can't have bitul, this is not for me, I'm going to tell you, Rav Nosson just told us that Pharaoh had a bechina bitul. If Pharaoh can have a bechina bitul, so can you and I. We can have a bechina bitul as well, and we can be connected to the Rabbeinu Shalom. Look, now let's go weiter. V'tikunoi al yedei Yosef, and the tikkun happened. Oh, the tikkun happened through Yosef HaTzadik. Through Yosef HaTzadik, shezocher l'tachlis habitul. Yosef HaTzadik was zocher to the tachlis habitul. Yosef HaTzadik was mamish the tzaddik that knew how to close his eyes from this world. He always connected to the Rabbeinu Shalom. B'shleimus karoyu. That's what it says. Bechinas bein poras Yosef ubein poras alei ayin. Alei ayin. What does alei ayin mean? Let's see what the Rebbe says now. Let's see where Rav Nosson writes. Unbelievable. Alei ayin. She Yosef bechinas hatzadik emes. Yosef HaTzadik is a bechin of the Tzadik Emes. He is the Tzadik Emes. Yosef HaTzadik. The Torah says Yosef HaTzadik. Oila ala ayin. He goes over the eyes. It's something above the eyes. What does that mean? Ki hu soisim eina mechazu dahai alma legamri. Because he seals his eyes from seeing anything in this world at all. He just doesn't pay attention to what's going on in the world. He knows it's all sheker. Everything he sees in the world is sheker. He knows that. It's the tzaddik. He doesn't even have a blink of an eye to have anything to see of this world, because he knows that everything in this world is the olam ha-sheker. He understands that. He understands, but the Rabbeinu Shalom is emes. So when you mevatel yourself to the Rabbeinu Shalom, that's you mevatel yourself to emes, to the emes. And when you mevatel yourself to the emes, you feel the good sky, you feel the beauty of the Rabbeinu, you feel HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with you. Imoy anoichi b'tzara, as David HaMelech said the best, we say in Yosef, it says, Imoy anoichi b'tati, you're with me. I understand, Hashem, you're with me. Not only you're with me, Hashem, you're doing this for my good. You're helping me, Hashem. So they're telling you it's bad, but no, I understand, Tati. I know you're doing this for my good. V'halkei nikra oila ayin. And that's why it's called oila ayin. Why? Ki hu oila al ha'ayin u'moishel olav. Because he goes above his eyes and he controls. He's moishel. He rules his eyes. The tzaddik rules his eyes. The eyes aren't wandering to see things that they shouldn't see. The tzaddik is able to be moishel on his eyes. That's Yosef's alei ayin. Kimi sheyesh le'yistaklis b'zeh olam. Because if people are looking around in this world, kifi yistaklusei, according to what they see in this world, keinu tachas ayin. So they are under the domain of their eyes. Their eyes are running their lives because they're looking at this world. So the eyes are constantly seeing things and sending messages to the brain. Rather than the brain sends the message to the eyes, I want you to look at this chumash. I want you to look at the daf. I want you to look at the halacha yom. No. Look at this. The eyes are looking at what they want to look at. Ayin ra v'alev choimet. And then the rest happens. Okay? V'amei v'nyaven. Because the eyes are ruling him. Because he's going wherever his eye is. He looks at this, I'll go over there. The eye says, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to follow what the eyes say. Oh, the Gemara in Site on Daf Tes, how many people they went after their eyes, and it doesn't lead to anything good. Doesn't lead to anything good. We say in Kriya Shema every day. right? I shouldn't pursue after my heart, in my eyes. So, in other words, it's in Kriya Shema. We need to say it's in the last parsha of Kriya Shema, right? It's in the last parsha. Unbelievable. That it shouldn't be that the eye sees and the heart desires. And then chas v'sholem, the guy he gets involved in the averis. Chas v'sholem. Raku yizgaber alei ayin. But rather the tzaddik is mizgaber alei ayin, above his eyes. He's running his eyes. V'halev v'oila aleihem v'yimshul b'hem, and he runs his heart and he runs his eyes, and that's what we're saying in Kriya Shema. So if you're saying this is such a hard thing to do, it is. But don't forget, this is in Kriya Shema, and you say it every single day, multiple times a day. And when the most important time to say it is Kriya Shema Lamita. You say it at Kriya Shema Lamita, and you remind yourself then, V'lo yisasuru acharei levavchem v'acharei einechem. I don't have to pursue after my heart and my eyes. I don't need to. Raku yizgaber alei ayin. But rather I can be mizgaber, I can run my eyes. V'alei v'oila aleihem v'yimshul b'hem, and I can rule them. B'chinas alei ayin. Shaliyah lo yishum istaklis b'zeh oilam. Don't look at the frivolity of this world. Everything's frivolous. It's nonsense. Shezeh b'chinas Yosef. That's what it means, Yosef. Oh, Yosef. Shenikra alei ayin. Yosef is above his eye. He controls his eyes. And therefore Yosef HaTzadik was able to be mevatel all of the embarrassment, all of the cherpa, right? Klal ha'tayves v'asitrach b'chinas osef eleikim es cherposi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is also be gathered in my cherpa. Who said that? Rachel Imeinu. It was just Rachel Imeinu's yard site. Valkein zache Yosef letachlis habitul b'shleimus. Therefore Yosef HaTzadik was Zaycha, and again it's all in the name. It's all in the name. You should know the name is so important. Through this, he was able to interpret the tikkun chaloim paroi, the higbra toiv al hara, and he was able to make the toiv be over the ra. In other words, what did he do? He understood what it was. He understood that the ra is coming to uproot the good. So he saw that, and then he interpreted that there's going to be years of famine, but then there's going to be years of plenty. There's going to be years of plenty, and then followed by years of famine. So that's what it means, that the famine will come and it'll overtake the good. Because again, if you don't prepare, that's what it means. If we don't prepare in this world, when we come to the next world, what are we going to have? This is what it's all about. We're preparing the same way in the dream we were preparing, right? We have to prepare in this world, and that's the preparing for the 7 years of plenty. So then when we have the 7 years of famine, right? Seven. Remember 7 and 7. It says Zayin Midas. Right? And that's what it means. Sheva Shnei HaSova Al Sheva Shnei HaRav. The 7 years of plenty over the 7 years of famine. Let's just finish the last paragraph now. V'zeh b'chinas v'Yosef Yoshes Yodai Al Einecha. Yosef was able to cover up over his eyes. Yodai. Specifically his hand, bechinas kabbalas haTorah shemekablam me'emershimu. So we said when you have that reshimu, when you have that bitul, and when you come back to the world, there's that trace. And we said that trace is a kabbalas haTorah because you look at Torah in a new way, or you have ischachus, or you look at Torah in a new way. That's considered a kabbalas haTorah. Sheikah Kabbalah Yidei Bechinas Yadayim, and through it comes through the hands. It all comes through the hands. Ay, bechinas hayadayim. Yadayim. Bechinas shnei luchos habris. Al shtei yodi. The shnei luchos habris on the two hands. The two luchos habris was on the two. Moshe Rabbeinu was holding the luchos habris in his two hands. Oh, Moshe Rabbeinu bechinas kesuvim be'etzba elikim. The luchos were written what? With a finger, so to say, kiviyachol. Etzba elikim, that's what it says, etzba elikim, right? Kiviyachol. Hanema b'Torah. Amaymer Rabbeinu zal in tainus ve'chol echad mare be'etzbai. Everyone's able to see with their finger. And what's that going to be when we have that machol, that dance at the end? Everyone's going to be married with their finger. They'll see, and they'll say, they'll see the Rabbeinu Shalom, and they'll know it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because the main tikkun is through the Torah that comes through the Rishimu. And the Torah is what protects. It's the protection of the eye. And that's why you need the Torah, because when you learn Torah, the Torah is the best protection. The best protection. David HaMelech said if he has a time, he would pull them in novel into the base HaMedrash. Right? He would pull them into the base HaMedrash because Torah is going to protect the eyes. Torah. Because it's gonna the bad stuff will fall through the Torah. Bechinas mitzvahs Hashem baram iras einayim. Look at these beautiful words. Mitzvahs Hashem bara. The mitzvahs Hashem are bara. Me'iras einayim. They give me light. They give me clarity to my vision. That's the vision I'm supposed to see. I look into the Torah. That's where you get mibara meiras einayim. Mezev Yosef Yoshes Yodai Aleinecha Yodai Daike Einecha. His eyes daike. Why? Shainu Shafilu Kishachoizrim Me'abitul. When he comes back from the bitul. Shu bechinas pesichas einayim. That's when you come back from the bitul. That's when you start to open up your eyes. They won't have that koyach to be misgaber, because again he's controlling his eyes. He's controlling the eyes. What he's going to see, and you learn Torah right away. You learn some Torah. You look into Tehillim. Whatever you're going to do, but you get and that's the greatest protection. Ki is batlu al yedei haTorah, because it's all the negative things will be mevatel when you'll have Torah. When you're connecting to Torah, Kedosh, when you're learning Torah, any aspect of Torah, as long as you're learning Torah. Whatever you're learning in Torah, that's it. Learn Torah. That Torah will be a muggin. It's the greatest protection. Because the tzaddikim and the kisherim, because the great righteous ones and the kisherim and the elchiyidin, right? When they would come back from their bitul, they don't look at the frivolity of this world. They look at the nonsense of the world. They watch their eyes. Through Torah shemekabla me'am bitul. Because again, when you go into bitul, you have that, you connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you bring back that rishima, you bring back so much beautiful stuff, and but you can't accept it because the mind can't accept it. So we just have that trace, the rishima, and that's the Torah, that's where it comes from. Again, lesson 65, if you don't understand, so please revert back to lesson 65, okay? Vayadei zeh mizbatlim kol hadinim. And through this you can be mevatel all dinim in your life, anything. Anyone can be mevatel the din in their life if they really connect to the lesson. V'atzaris, and all the pain and all the tzaris and all the pains that we go through. V'chol ha-sitra achra, and all of the other side that they're coming at us. How do you fight it? What's the great thing? Through Torah. Where do you get the Torah? Through the bitul. How do you do it through the bitul? Because you have the rishimu. How do you do rishimu? Is Kabbalah Torah. Is a new way of looking at Torah. Through that you can fight through anything. V'zeh bechinas v'yosef yoshes yodai aleinecha. Yosef was able to hold on to over his eyes, and he protected his eyes. He understood that. He didn't want to see anything. He was ale ayin. Yosef was above his eye. He controlled. He was Mishal on his lave. He was Mishal on his eyes. And that's what we all can do. And that's such a beautiful, beautiful, important lesson. And again, I'm sorry I'm not with you in our beautiful base medrash. But again, we spoke to David Jerome, my dear Yedid Nafshi, and David, we said we should continue. So here we go, everyone. I send you my love. And Emetz Hashem will be back in Eretz Yisrael next week, and we'll continue the lessons in person. Kol Tuv, everybody, and have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Kol Tuv.